Hey guys, and welcome. This video is going to be different from my usual content, as you can clearly see. As of yesterday, Running with Scissors had just dropped the Postal 2 Redux Kickstarter page. And in this Kickstarter page, there's a lot of stuff that I thought was very interesting and I was very excited to see and hear for the first time. So yeah guys, I don't want to sit here and yap too much, so let's get straight into it. This first chapter doesn't have much new news about Postal 2 Redux, so I'm mostly just gonna skip over this one. This whole How We Got Here chapter pretty much just covers the plot of the first game. And well, if you're seeing this video, then you've most likely played the first game before. So now let's hurry on to the good stuff. Now the second chapter being VR and Redux. Now this is where we start to get to the juicy stuff. This chapter is a very short one and it doesn't cover too much information. It mostly just talks about how Flat2 VR Studios officially announced Postal 2 VR in March of 2025. This whole idea of having Postal 2 ported to VR and having it switched over from a different engine is kind of the whole idea that decided them to make Postal 2 Redux. Postal 2 Redux won't just be a remaster of the original game, but also a remaster of all the extra DLC content that came out with the game originally. Now with this Kickstarter being put up, there are many new clips that show photos from the game in the new engine, and everything looks much cleaner and all that. The third chapter, Why Kickstarter? It mostly covers the fact that the devs, well, of course, need a lot of money to make this game, because it's not like they're just porting stuff over from the original game. It's almost like they're building the game from the ground up. In this section, we actually get a lot more news about Postal 2 Redux as a whole. This section explains that the game will have an entirely new engine, modern pipelines, rebuilt assets, and smarter systems. But not only that, also expanding the universe and continuing the story of Postal 2. Now the fact that they have the Kickstarter up allows them to earn money on their own. As this sentence explains, Kickstarter lets us do that without some suit leaning over the keyboard asking us to tone it down. From my understanding of this almost means entirely that the game will be built by Team Beef, Running with Scissors, and Flat2 VR without having to tone it down because of bigger companies such as Sony not allowing them to do what they want to do with the game. This sentence explains that they want to have everything be true to the first game and not have too many things change too much. Almost like they want to have an entirely just remastered version of the first game with more content. In this sentence is some even bigger news as well. This explains that they want to even have online modes such as co-op play and return of the original multiplayer modes be in the next gen version, alongside a complete remaster of Apocalypse Weekend. And on top of that, a brand new DLC called Postal 2 the week after, which would bridge the gap between Postal 2 and Postal 4. This next section being called What's New in Redux. This section is just an entire chapter dedicated to all the things that they're changing from the first game and remastering. So first of all, Postal 2 will be built into Unity, which I don't think I'm too big of a fan of, since Unity is known to be a very buggy all-around engine. But all worries aside, hopefully this game isn't a buggy mess on release, like, you know, wink wink, nudge nudge, cough cough. But from the sounds of it, this actually seems to be pretty good. This next one is a very big one, especially if you played the first game. You would know that in each section of the map, there being loading zones every 5 minutes or so. But according to this section, apparently loading zones are gone entirely. Now they don't give us too much detail on this. The sentence just says, Paradise streams in as you walk, no more load screens, just roam and ruin. This next part focuses more on the first sentence that we originally read. So of course with them porting it over to Unity, we also are to expect higher resolution textures, upgraded shaders and materials, and lighting. We have gotten to see some of these textures in photos and GIFs that they've shown us across the Kickstarter. This one's another big one. Have you guys ever been there playing Postal 2 and you're shooting and doing all that Postal 2 stuff? Something that you'll realize is the guns don't feel like they have too much punch to them, too much oomph. So this one, in my opinion, is another big one. Running with Scissors is completely reworking the combat based on community feedback. All the guns are being rebuilt to hit harder. This is one that I'm excited for because the combat in the original game always felt a bit lackluster. This next part states that the insides of all the houses, the mall, and all offices and arcades will be further improved upon by adding more objects and details to the inside of the buildings. This was another thing that I noticed when originally playing the first game, was the environment kind of felt dead and empty. So this one, in my opinion, I feel is a very nice touch to detail. Crowds that find trouble faster. Back to how I stated earlier, Running with Scissors completely wants to redo all of the AI and NPCs in the game and how they work. Civilians will still snitch and cops will still overreact, but the fact that they have better pathing means that they'll do it better, faster, and harder. According to this, it also seems like Postal 2 Redux won't be on last generation consoles, so it'll be primarily focusing on PC and next gen consoles such as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X. It also seems like we're getting a lot of quality of life fixes. The first game has many problems with crashing, and even to this day, they were never fixed. But it seems like the game will finally support widescreen, it'll have more modern inputs, fewer crashes, and a smarter UI. This next chapter focuses on Kickstarter exclusive content. Most of the content in this section will only appeal to people who decide to back the project. Some of the content that you should expect to get if you back the Kickstarter exclusive tier or higher is brand new Postal Dude skin, which seems to be a 3D remaster of the original Postal 1 Dude brought to 3D with Redux, alongside a brand new weapon. Although this weapon hasn't been fully thought upon, they are allowing the Kickstarter backers to decide what they want the new weapon to be. Option 1 being a saw blade gun, option 2 being a compound hunting bow, which kinda sounds like the one weapon that was already in the second game. And option 3, my favorite, being an AK-47. The AK was originally in the promotional material, but was never seen in any of the Postal games, so I think it would be cool to finally see it in a Postal game, especially Postal 2 Redux. This next part is very big if you're interested in the lore of all the Postal games. It states that they're finally deciding to expand upon the fact that Postal 2 Dude is possessed.
For years there have been talk of something else, an unseen hand guiding the Postal Dude through chaos. Some say the Postal Dude's been cursed since the beginning, others say he's protected. Both might be true. In Postal 2 Redux, you'll finally meet the shadow that's been following you for years. It answers only to you, and once summoned, it will slaughter everything in sight before vanishing in one violent act.
I feel like it'll be really cool to finally see this so-called demon that has been possessing Postal Dude, since it seems to be a very big focus in the first game, but they never seem to expand upon it in any of the other games. Another section of this chapter explains that Redux opens up one area never before shown in the original game. It seems like we'll finally be able to enter Postal Dude's trailer. We get to see the inside of his trailer in the highly appraised Uwe Boll Postal movie, so I'm excited to see how the inside of the trailer in the movie relates to how it looks in the game. Next section being Postal 2 Redux Physical. It seems like Postal 2 Redux will have a physical copy, but at this point in time it only seems like it'll be for PS5. I think it's cool that Running with Scissors is deciding to do this, considering the fact that a lot of people would like to own the game with a physical copy. It seems like in this point in time, the physical copies don't plan to ship out until December of 2027, which I think most people will be pretty bummed out about. This next chapter talks about campaign stretch goals. The three main stretch goals that they seem to have right now for the campaign is time of day effects, a sandbox mode, and console modding support. This next section is focused purely on Apocalypse Weekend and how they plan on reimagining or remastering it. It starts off by explaining what Apocalypse Weekend is. A further reading explains how the DLC was going to be different from the final outcome, but they had to reduce it to a more linear experience because of budgetary constraints. You'll see how they don't plan on bringing Apocalypse Weekend across exactly one-to-one on how it was in the original game, but instead it seems that they're deciding to reinstate their original vision of the DLC with its full open world original ideology, alongside a ton of rebalancing and improvements. This next one I feel is a big one, the elusive, ever-wanted Pigeon Mission. With the original pre-launch Kickstarter, upon Running with Scissors hitting 15,000 signs, they would finally decide to make the Pigeon Mission a real thing. In this paragraph, they pretty much just explain that they don't know where they're going to put it in the game, whether they want the Pigeon Mission to be part of Apocalypse Weekend, or if they want it to be in the original Monday to Friday gameplay. Top stretch goal, which doesn't seem too far away at this point, is an official sequel to Postal 2 and its expansions. don't talk on this too much since it's very heavily in the works. They have a video of Mike J explaining what it means and what to expect from Postal 2 the week after. I'm very excited for Postal 2 the week after, because I'm very excited to see what they decide to do with it. This next chapter is called The Combo Punch. This next section just seems to be the developers talking about how they plan on making the game and optimizing it. So of course the first part being building the game for Postal 2 Redux to be able to be played in VR and flat screen. Right below that, it states that optimization is a very big point that they plan on working on. Seems like they learned from their lessons almost, eh? This next section is another really big point. It seems that they're not going to rewrite the story at all or change anything drastically with the game. It seems like Postal 2 Redux will completely be focused around a genuine remaster for the game. They also further expand upon how important the fans are for this game and the community. It seems like they do really care about the community with this project, and it's finally nice to see that in the gaming community, unlike some companies, Activision, Call of Duty. And they finish it off with a TLDR. Team Beef makes it work, Flats of VR Studios makes it ship. Together, they're the right degenerates to drag Postal 2 into 2026 without neutering it, and I feel like that's a very good way to end it. At the bottom, they do have a risks chapter, and of course it's important to talk about them. They further explain how this is a very big challenge for the 3 studios working on this game. It's not like they're just throwing a new coat of paint over the game. They're completely remaking the game from the ground up almost. 2 major risks that seem to be on the back of their minds here is A, scheduling with the game. Their current target is 2026, and hopefully that stays true. But with a game like this, you just never know. Another one of the biggest risks is censorship on consoles. But the bigger companies that care more about their image, like Sony and Microsoft, may need a more censored version for the game to ship on major consoles. The best example of this being Ready or Not was just recently launched on console earlier this month, with there being some major censorship issues within the games. But for now, that is all of it. It does seem like Running with Scissors will be at this year's gamescom, which at this point in time is 6 days from now on August the 19th at 2 p.m. EST. I will be watching that, and I will most likely make another video letting you guys know how that went. So if you guys want to see my opinion on that, make sure that you guys subscribe and turn on notifications so you guys can see when that video goes up. The things I didn't cover in this video being all the tiers on the Kickstarter, since there's just so many and I would be here for multiple hours talking about them. Most of the tiers are just keys for the game and things like that. But there are some cooler ones like a Gamescom 2026 meet and greet with Running with Scissors, which is $3,000, or becoming an NPC in the game for $2,500, and you get to be at the launch party for the game. So, you know, they also stay with that one. If you pay an extra $5,000, you get a +1. So, you know, if anybody's got an extra $5,000 around, you know, invite your boy, I'll be there. Invite your boy. That pretty much covers most of it for the Kickstarter. I will leave a link to the Kickstarter in the description below so you can see everything yourself. You guys should feel more than free to donate, as I will most likely end up buying one of the tiers myself. But yeah guys, that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, and you guys like to see this kind of content, like the video. It lets me know that you know, people are seeing this kind of content and they're enjoying it. So yeah, hey, that's Quantum out for this video. See you guys.